Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Read and Reread. I am Angelia. Today, I am constructing a 10 before the end reading list. It is a challenge that is doomed to failure, but I will have fun trying to accomplish it. So this is not a tag, but it is a concept or an idea that was created by Brett from Brett's Book Stack. And I saw his video earlier today. I also saw one that Melinda from A Web of Stories made a couple days ago. So I'm going to put both of those in there. And thank you, Brett, for inventing this idea because I really, really love this idea. And if you decide to also make a 10 before the end video, please tag Brett so that he will know how his idea is doing out in the world. It's always nice to see your video ideas living their best lives. 10 before the end is what it sounds like. It is a list of books that you are hoping to get to before the end of the year. And there's different ways that you can go about assembling your list. So for me, the rules are 10 books that I own that I want to get to that I have not already earmarked for certain events, challenges, group reads, buddy reads. So I have a kind of a calendar with a page for each month, and on that I have possible TBR books for different themes, or I have planned to read something with a friend, and so all that's mapped out, and there's lots of things on that list, and none of those are eligible for 10 before the end. These are the books that I'm always thinking, oh, and I also want to read this, and this. It's the ones that I'm so excited to get, and then somehow I have trouble slotting them in or fitting them in, and every time I see them I think, I want to read that, and then I just continue forth with all of my other overladen TBRs. So these are 10 books that I found on my cart, on my shelves, and I started with a bigger list. At first I said, I'm just going to walk around and gather books that I really have been wanting to get to really badly. And so I grabbed a bunch of books, and then here's the original stack, and I think there's about 15 books in there, and so I had to discipline myself, and I said, self, what if right now, today, you found out that you got an all expenses paid month-long vacation and you could take 10 books with you? You have 5 minutes to get ready, go. Well, of course, I would spend my 5 minutes gathering books and have no clothing for this vacation. But so that's what I did. So this is an of the moment. If it happened today, the 10 books, lots of disclaimers here for why I might choose some of these other books instead. There are no rereads because those are all eligible for Remember December. So it has to be, these are all books I have never read. Okay, is that enough prelim? Can we get to the list? The first one has appeared in multiple videos from the time that it arrived and the times that it has been in a TBR and somehow not made it, and it is The Animators by Kayla Whitaker. Most recently, it was in my September TBR for the Framed Art in September event, and I just ran out of time. I really wanted to read it. I loved the books that I did read, but then the month rolled on and I had other planned books to get to, but I still really want to read this. It's not a new book. It was published in 2016, but I bought it about a year ago, and it was highly recommended by Priscilla from Evening Reader, and every time I bring up this book, I mention her again. It just sounds really good, and it's about these two women who become friends, I think in college, and they are in the field of animation, which is a male-dominated field, and it's about their friendship and their work, and I still really want to get to this book. Another one that I got, I think last year, I saw it at Book People in Austin, but then I didn't buy it that day, and later on I found a secondhand, a nice hardcover copy. Stephen read it, he found it very intriguing, and he has talked about it several times since then, and then Sonya at Enthusiastic Reader also really likes this book too, I believe. And I still have not gotten to it, and it is On Such a Fool's Sea by Chang-Rae. This is a post-apocalyptic type book. In a long declining future America, abandoned urban neighborhoods have been repurposed as secure, self-contained labor settlements. Here, communities of contented workers, descendants of those brought over en masse many years earlier from environmentally ruined cities in China, devote their lives to the cultivation of pristine produce and seafood for the wealthy residents of the elite walled villages that lie outside. In return for their contributions, the workers are protected from the violence of the wild, crime-ridden, anarchic quasi-states that exist elsewhere. So that begins, but it's about a woman's journey who leaves the safety of this compound. I think she goes to search for a lover. I'm not quite sure. But I have read another book by this author that was not dystopian, or what did I read? I know I read A Just Your Life, and maybe I read one other, and they were just straight up realistic fiction. This is really high up on the list. I really think there's a strong possibility I actually will get to this one. My betting odds for getting through all 10 books in this pile are about 50-50. I'm gonna guess, I'm gonna say 10 and get to 5 or 6 of them. We'll see. We'll get to the end of December and see if I was right or wrong. But I really want to read On Such a Full Sea. All right, the next one I bought right after Christmas with Christmas gift card money. And a lot of people were talking about it at the time. And it's another author that I have read and enjoyed in the past. And somehow the mood, the tides, the zodiac symbols have not lined up right for me yet to read Absolution by Alice McDermott. I think the gold foil on this pretty cover is not, the camera's not doing it justice, but it's a beautiful shade of green. I really love the colors on this book. This is about American women in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. It's in Saigon in 1963. I think that they are the wives of officers. It says Trisha is a shy newlywed married to a rising attorney on loan to Navy intelligence. Charlene is a practiced corporate spouse, a mother of 3, a beauty and a bully. The women form an alliance of friendship, and then it goes into the future. It says 60 years later, Charlene's daughter, spurred by an encounter with an aging Vietnam vet, reaches out to Trisha. So it's got that two time period thing going. I love that. There's nothing about this book that deters me. I have absolutely no explanation why I have not yet picked this up. The next one, I have mentioned multiple times in my videos and in comments to other people about how madly desperate I am to start reading this book, but obviously not desperate enough because it hasn't happened. And that is Ghost Mountain by Ronan Hession. I loved Leonard and Hungry Paul earlier this year. That was my introduction. The second I finished that book, I ordered this. I think I ordered it from Blackwell, so it would get here faster than the US release, and here we wait. And I know he has one more book that I want as well, but I'm shaming myself into not ordering a third book by him when I haven't even read this one. But this one, I love how there is so little. Here's the blurb. Look at the size of the blurb. It's just basically, there's a small town. I would assume it's in Ireland because it's an Irish author. It says, a ghost mountain is a mountain that appeared yesterday, changing the lives of the local people. The town drunk, a retired teacher and her dog, a young soul and his wife, an old soul. It is a story about all that is unmistakably present yet never truly fathomable in our lives. That is completely vague, but I kind of love it. And the author, I just expect an unusual, unexpected presentation. Why have I not yet read it? This also is just really burning a hole in my mind. I need to read it. All right, I love Percival Everett, and I have 2 unread Percival Everett books currently on my shelves. So I pulled one, and that is I Am Not Sydney Porier. And this is about a guy whose name is not Sydney Poitier. So there's all this ongoing wordplay and jokes about, well, hello, who are you? I'm not Sydney Poitier. Okay, well, who are you? Not Sydney Porier. So that's right there. That's just classic Percival Everett. But it's about a guy, it says he's a wealthy orphan maturing under the watch of Ted Turner. Not Sidney gets arrested for driving while black and sleuths a murder case in Smut-Eye, Alabama, all while navigating the recurrent communication problem. What's your name? A kid would ask. Not Sidney, I would say. Okay, then what is it? So I know it's going to be funny, offbeat, weird, thought-provoking. And then we have another one by an author that I was greatly impressed with. I love North Woods by Daniel Mason. I love it so much. I want to reread it really soon, even though I just read it last December. A year's long enough, right? But instead, I also bought another book by him, A Registry of My Passage Upon the Earth. And this is a short story collection. And it is a beautiful book. And I feel like at any moment I could sit down and start reading this. I went all the way through Shorty September, reading all those short stories. Still didn't read it. Here it is. And I have no doubt that this is going to absolutely enchant me, but I just haven't done it yet. 9 tales of human endurance, accomplishment, and epiphany, told with style and brio, an enchanting cabinet of curiosities and wonders. Starred review, Kirkus. You know I love those Kirkus stars. So we have a fateful flight, a balloonist that makes a discovery that changes her life forever. A telegraph operator finds an unexpected companion in the middle of the Amazon. I misread that for like a split second. I thought it was saying a telephone operator from Amazon makes an unexpected connection. No. A doctor is beset by seizures during which he is possessed by a second, perhaps better version of himself. And in Regency London, a bare-knuckle fighter prepares to face his most fearsome opponent when a young mother seeks a miraculous cure for her ailing son. So they sound different, distinctive, fascinating. I can't wait to read it. It's not even very long. What's my problem? The next one is a brand new book, and it will reappear in my next book haul. But I got a book for my birthday that I really wanted, and it's Colored Television by Danzy Senna. Now, it is true that Danzy Senna is married to Percival Everett, and that did catch my attention, but that's not why I got the book. I got it based on the description and the reviews and the hype and, yes, the beautiful cover. And this book, I haven't read anything by this author, but I know she has a previous novel called Caucasia that looks pretty good. But this is a dark comedy. It says that Jane has high hopes that her life is about to turn around. After a long, precarious stretch, bouncing among sketchy rentals and sublets, she and her family are living in luxury for a year, house-sitting in the hills above Los Angeles. The gig magically coincides with Jane's sabbatical, giving her the time and space she needs to finish her second novel, a century-spanning epic her artist husband Lenny dubs her, quote, mulatto war and peace, end quote. Finally, some semblance of stability and success seem to be within her grasp. Okay, and then stuff goes wrong. So I don't know if there's a little biographical thread in there about the writer and her artist husband, because Percival Everett is also a visual artist, but we shall see. But I've heard that it is funny, that is very of the moment, and I do love books set in Los Angeles, one of my favorite cities. So this, can't wait. I say I can't wait, but of course I can, because I did. All right, this is another giant shamer. How many times have I pulled this one out? It's The Road to Dalton. I want to read it. Now I know there's a sequel. I want to read that too, I think, but I hesitate to purchase it, because what if I have a terrible reversal of fortune and I don't like The Road to Dalton, and then I already bought the second one? But I don't think that will happen because it has beautiful French flaps. That's a good sign, right? The Road to Dalton is another book set in Maine. This is the other problem. I read so many books set in Maine this year that I didn't get Mained out, but I didn't want to read them in a row, because I reread all those Strout books, and then some other books just happened to land in that area. The History of Sound, it was one of them. But anyway, so this is a novel. Here's the description of this novel. In the last weeks of 1989, a fender bender breaks the silence on an icy dark road outside Dalton, Maine, setting in motion events that will ripple through the town in ways no one can foresee. Blah, 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 blah. Rose works in a diner, hiding bruises from her customers. At a nearby table, Richard reflects on the choice that has charted his life. His wife, Trudy, and her best friend, Bev, continue the romance that exists within their long friendship, a secret known and ignored by their husbands. Bridget and Nate are raising their newborn daughter after a difficult birth, and on the edge of town, newcomer and aspiring writer Alice struggles to fit in. So I guess this accident happens and somehow it affects everybody. Sounds like exactly something I would love. Every single trip I've taken this year, I almost took this book, but it never worked out because I was always in the middle of something else. But I do have another trip coming up, so maybe it'll finally make the cut. The last two books are both chonky chonksters, which could be part of the reason why they keep getting passed over. I will, it's the same amount of time. I could read one longer book, I could read three shorter books, and somehow I tend to zoom in on the three shorter books. I don't know why. Something's happened to my level of patience as I age, but I have two books here that I bought on that just sounded really excellent to me when I heard about other people's reviews on BookTube or when I read reviews, and they've just sort of been sitting there chastising me for months. So one of them is The Night Alphabet by Joelle Taylor. I wanted this so bad. Again, I had to order it on Blackwell's. I couldn't wait for the US release. It's probably been released in the US now, and I haven't read it yet. Stephen did pick it up and read it. He also read On Such a Full Sea. I think I mentioned that. Yes. But he read this as well. He liked it, but he didn't love it. But I think he said he thought I would like it more than he did. So he knows my taste pretty well, so I'll take that as an endorsement. But this book, I mean, just listen to this. Okay, so it's 2233 is the year. A woman walks into a tattoo parlor. Jones's body is covered in tattoos, but she wants to add one final inking to her gallery, a thin line of ink mixed with blood that connects her body art together, creating a unique map. So the tattoo artist is doing this map, and then all the tattoos tell a story. So it is composed of interconnecting stories set across geographies and time spans. We visit the dystopian cities of the Quiet Men, the coal mines of 19th century Lancashire, join a gang of vigilante sex workers, enter the world of an incel murderer, haunt the old Maryville gay bar, and uncover plans to genetically modify female children. So it sounds kind of experimental. It sounds kind of feminist. It sounds kind of weird, and it looks kind of long, but I do want to read it. Will it fit in? Will either of these chonky ones make it in? We shall see. And last but not least, another one that I have mentioned numerous times all year that I just had to have because people were raving about it is Collected Works by Lydia. Whoops. Joelle Taylor's making a play. Collected Works by Lydia Sandgren. A family saga. A dysfunctional family saga. I love that kind of book. And I'm not opposed to a really good long book. But here's my excuse about this book. It looks like a winter book. It looks like there's a week in winter where the weather's going to be absolutely appalling, and all you want to do is drink tea and read a really engrossing book. That weather never happens here. It's going to be like 95 degrees today. So maybe, and if it comes along, I better read fast because it will last for 1 or 2 days. So it's not me, it's the weather. But I'm going to read it. I'm going to have to create a winter simulator sometime this winter and get to Collected Works. There you go. That's 10 before the end. You can place your betting odds on how many of these I will get to before the end of the year. Let me know if you see something here that you think I should prioritize, and I will take that under consideration. And anything here that you also want to read, or what books you are most wanting to read as well. I hope you have a great day. Take a look at the other 10 before the end videos too. They have some great titles in their list as well. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.